What's happening, people? And once again, welcome back to Platform B for this, another edition of Cubs Clubhouse in association with Cubcam TV. Myself, Kovu, in the hot seat, and we have got a very exciting show on the way this evening. Jumping straight into our interview section with an artist I've been keeping a close eye on throughout 2024. Someone who is seriously impressing with the recent releases, and excited to have a quick conversation with her this evening. LAHREL joins us on the line. How's it going?
Hi, how are you? Thank you for having me.
Yeah, really good this end as well. And yeah, great to catch up. Obviously, I know we've been kind of going back and forth trying to get this conversation in place, and I'm really excited just to find out, I suppose, a bit more about, obviously, the new single, your sort of plans for the rest of the year. It looks like 2024 has been an exciting year for you so far. Talk me through it. What have you been up to?
Yeah, 2024 has been amazing so far. You know, we've just released Move From Me, which is my brand new single that has just come out that's doing really well. It's a blend of Afro fusion, that's what I like to say. But even prior to, Move From Me coming out, we had Witness, which is a feature with Omi, a great friend of mine and a brother. And we put that record out and that was amazing. So, we've got a lot more records coming out in this year, and I'm just really excited. So that's our plans, but it's all about Move From Me right now.
Yeah, entirely. And again, it's a single that's doing really well, as you said. How long has this one, I suppose, been bubbling away for? Was it one of those situations where you record it, 3 days later it's out, or was it a tune you've been kind of slowly crafting away on for a period of time?
Sure. Yeah. So I was in Miami. I was recording at Plum House, which is a place that, it's a home residence for me where I record a lot of my music. And I called the producer, Jay Allen. It was one of those days where I had all these melodies in my head. And I said, Jay, what are you up to? And he was just like, yeah, I'll come down to the studio. And literally, I just freestyled that record. And that was done in like 5 minutes from top to finish. And that's how Move From Me came about. So it was actually recorded last year. I wasn't actually going to put it out. And I played the record to a few people and they was like, yo, you got to put this record out. It's really a cool record. I was like, really? They was like, yeah. So we put it out and the response has been amazing. So that's how Move From Me came about.
Definitely, yeah. I know, I can completely get that as well. And I think with that sort of, when you put a tune together and you're in that position of, I don't particularly know if this is the right one to put out there. I suppose, how do you, have that balance where you kind of, how are you able to sit on things, basically? How are you able to kind of keep them there without wanting to get them out there straight away?
Of course, sometimes it's very difficult. Just being an artist, you want all your music to come out. But, I have a great team around me, especially my manager. He's really big on just like releasing like great records, but being strategic as well, making it make sense. And this was a really good follow-up. This was a really good pre-record for a record that I actually have coming out soon with AFRO, which will be my next single. So it kind of just made sense. And, the record was more just me having fun. And my manager really encourages me to have fun and show that side to myself, which I want to do as well. So that's what it was all about. So great timing for the record that's coming up. But, some records you can't put out. You can't put everything out. It has to make sense. But luckily, this one that I had sitting there, it got to come out.
No, that's awesome to hear. I'm glad it did. Yeah, I'm really glad it did. Something I loved about the record as well, and I don't know whether this is, now you've said it, because of the more sort of freestyle nature of the tune, or whether it's just something that you tend to, I suppose, oscillate towards. It's that sort of rhythmic tripleted vocal approach that you bring, where you're kind of breaking down lines and they're kind of overriding the typical, I want to say, sort of 4/4 structure. I love talking music nerd stuff. And I love diving into it.
It's like music to my ears. The way you're speaking is music to my ears.
I mean, with that style, that sort of overlapping verse style, was that something that again just sort of came to you, or is that a sort of style you sort of honed it by yourself over the years?
Firstly, thank you for just noticing that. You're like one of the first people who noticed that type of rhythmic pattern that I use. It's something that I've always done. I'm really heavily influenced by rap, double timing, just different flows and different rhythmic patterns. And I've always tried to incorporate that we call it like a sing J style, where I sing but I rap at the same time. So it's something that I've always done that a lot of people don't know. I actually come from a place of just like freestyling and jamming, you know, and being amongst bands and being amongst different musicians and actually having jam sessions. And that's where it actually initially came from. So yeah, to answer your question, that's how this all began with, and why we have, you know, that style with on the record of Move From Me Today.
Great to hear, yeah. And again, it's something that I always enjoy. It's and I love. Did you say Sing Jay was the sort of the name you use? Yeah, I love that sort of approach, because you just open so many different kind of both rhythmic and melodic doors when you go down that avenue. And I suppose there's elements of that almost tie into R&B as well. That sort of kind of that overlap. I mean, talk me through, I suppose, your sort of major influences behind this record, because there's obviously the Afrofusion element in there, but there are clearly some other little pockets kind of tapping around as well.
Yeah, no, definitely. I draw from a lot of inspiration for this specific record. I would definitely say I work with a guy in America called Beam. He's an amazing songwriter and artist, and you know, he used to bring a lot of that out of me as well, you know, so definitely inspired by some of the stuff that he does as well. But this is definitely, I would say, for this record, this is more me. I wasn't really inspired by a lot of people. Early days, you know, Beyonce would do a lot of that in like Bills, and you know, her early records, she would actually do a lot of double time in her flow, along with singing and incorporating all those things. So I'll definitely say Beyonce as well. And dancehall is very heavily, I'm definitely influenced by dancehall music. And that day I was actually listening to a lot of dancehall music. So yeah.
I knew that there had to be a couple of extra pockets in there entirely. And I suppose kind of looking at that a little bit further, I suppose more sort of boiling down to the sort of Afrofusion element, would you say that's your sort of typical go-to style? Is that sort of space? Or would you say, because I mean, looking back at the collaboration you released obviously earlier on, that's in such a different zone to I suppose this and Woman No Cry as well. So I suppose, what's your sort of home zone? How would you describe that?
I definitely say that my sound is pop fusion, and it's definitely not going to be boxed in. It's going to be all different type of genres mixed into one without it being confusing. So my sound is pop fusion, and that is the type of music that I want to create. It'll definitely be global, you know, for the ear, for people who don't speak English, for people who don't maybe understand English. It's a universal language, and that's what I want and that's why you'll probably hear, or that's why you have heard, that my music has different types of genres and different sounds, because we tap into many different sounds to cater to many different people, because that is who I am as an artist. That's not even me trying to be somebody, you know. If you're in the studio with me, which hopefully one day I'll show you some behind the footage scenes and stuff like that, you'll be able to see that we just go from different genres when I'm recording or writing for others, and it's just something that I do naturally and that I enjoy.
And it's something you can hear as well. You can hear that, I suppose, the freedom kind of element in what you do. There's no sort of, it feels like it's not restrained. It feels like you are able to just kind of take things in the direction they're sort of supposed to naturally go, without, I suppose, kind of going, cool, we have to have bridge here, we have to have hook here. It feels a lot more kind of free going. Now, obviously, with this as a release, it is a track, it's a solo release. I know you've previously collaborated. You've mentioned you're looking at future collaborations as well. I feel with a track like this, and it's a question I love to ask, especially on like fresh records, who's the ideal remix? Because I feel there's such a natural kind of thing of someone else could touch down on this. I suppose, just off the top of your head, who would you feel you'd like to kind of, I suppose, sit in the studio with and see what their take on this would be?
That is a good question. There is an artist that I'm listening to. Well, I have two takes. Three artists. Here we go. It would be Rosalia,
cool,
Tokisha, because I love dembo music, and I would say the third person would be Good question. There's an artist that I am listening to called Simi, and she does like Afro beats, and I love her tone. I think that she's just amazing, and I think the two of us together would be an amazing collaboration.
I can definitely hear that. I'm a huge Simi fan myself.
Oh, you are. She's amazing.
No, entirely, and I know what you mean about that unique vocal texture, and I suppose the delicacy that comes with that. I can definitely see that kind of intertwining really nicely. Obviously, you've got the visualizer, I believe, is out for this, and it's got that sort of one take sort of studio feel to it. I know previously, obviously, you've put together some real sort of visually inspiring videos that have a real sort of glossy feel to them. Is that the plan with this one as well? Do we have a full video on the way?
No, not for this video. I just wanted it to be light, fun. I wanted it to be about the lyrics, the feeling, not to really take away from the song, just like this is me stripped down, having fun. So we kind of steered away from just doing a whole video, and just kept it just really cute with the visualizer, you know?
No, that makes sense. And again, there's something I actually comment on my channel quite regularly, is that idea of not everything needs to be super high budget. Not everything needs to be this crazy 50-person production, everyone throwing like tons and tons of, I suppose, of assets and resources at something. Sometimes just standing in front of a microphone creates sometimes even a better feel. So, I was gonna kind of say with that then, obviously looking forward, you did mention you have a big collaboration on the way. How long? I suppose obviously I won't pre too much. I want to hear I want to hear that single when it drops and kind of have a level of kind of impact from it. But I suppose, how long has that been in the works? How long have you and Afrobeats been speaking?
Well, so I've been lucky enough to work with Afrobeat and collaborate with him on records of his own and, his album and stuff like that, which is amazing. He's a great artist. I really enjoy working with him. And we was in the studio and we came up with this amazing record, and it was just like a no-brainer. It just felt good. Every person that heard it was just like, yeah, this feels good. Such a global, universal type of record, which kind of suits both of our sounds and direction of where we're going. And that was done last year, actually the year before, I would say. And, we just came up with this idea of like, I think this will be a really good idea to put this out. It feels good. And we are here today, 2024, and we're just getting ready to drop. So it's exciting.
Yeah,
really
I can imagine.
Exciting.
I proper can. And I suppose then looking at that, obviously that's a huge collaboration. Just so, I presume from this side, this is going to be coming out as your record featuring Afrobeat. Is that how it's going to be structured?
Yes.
That's such a cool kind of I love the idea of 360 collabs where you kind of go, I'm going to go and feature on one of yours, you come and feature on one of mine.
Yeah, exactly. It's a really good feeling, and he's a really cool person, and I learn a lot from him just being in sessions and stuff and seeing his process. It's been amazing. So shout out to Afrobeat.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I know you've mentioned obviously the single right now is Move From Me. I always love to kind of get a glimpse into, I suppose, the general idea, a bit of sort of down the line for this year, I suppose, in regards to shows, in regards to kind of new releases. Is there an EP hopefully at the end of this run? What does the rest of this year kind of entail for you, without dropping too many spoilers? I don't want to get in trouble.
Well, the rest of the year the plan is to be very busy, just putting out records, but towards the latter of the year we want to work on the EP. That's like a main focus for us at this point. After the Afrobeat record is out, we want to work on the EP. So I'll be heading back to the States and collaborating with amazing talent who I enjoy working with, and new people, and you'll be delivered a new an EP.
Amazing. So I know you've mentioned it a couple of times as well. Obviously, I know you mentioned you record in the US primarily, by the sounds of things. I suppose where did that sort of link up come from? Is it just something you've stumbled into? Is it what? Because that seems like a trek, to be honest, to get to the studio.
It's a nice trek, I can't lie.
Yeah.
It's a really nice trek. So my manager actually is based in Miami. That's Ryan Dillon. So, it's just a no-brainer for me to be out there. We have a studio, Plum House, out there, and that's where I record. And there are a lot of creatives in Miami who I enjoy working with. So to me, it just makes sense to be there, business-wise and creative-wise. And that's how I managed to be there. Now, I spend a lot of time in Miami, and I've kind of built, a great community out there. So it helps with my music. And, you know, Miami's very close to the Caribbean as well. So they incorporate a lot of the Caribbean fusion into their music, which is definitely the direction that I'm going myself and that I love to do. So, yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, and it's so cool to hear as well. Yeah, I was gonna say, like, yeah, I can imagine, just the sort of, just the I suppose the excitement as well of kind of, I'm here to do this. This is why I'm here, and rather than kind of, I suppose, nipping down the road to a more sort of localized studio and being kind of like, cool, I can go home at any time. No, I'm here to get something in the pan and get something cooking. So, yeah, entirely. Well, I've got to say, LAHREL, it's been great chatting. It's been really good to find out a bit more about your process. I'm so excited for this Afro B record as well. We're going to jump into Move From Me next. We're going to jump into that and give it a quick run here on the show, which I'm excited to do. And yeah, we'll give that a run and obviously catch up hopefully a little bit later on in the year to jump into the new single.
Would love to. Thank you for having me as well.
No worries at all. Make sure you are keeping it locked, people. We are live on Platform B this evening in association with Cubcam TV. Don't go anywhere. Bye-bye.
Sounding so good right now. But they're sounding a Brighton town.
Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel right now, Cubcam TV. Stay locked.